I talked to Static Select about this, is our sound. Um, we originated the boom bap sound. That's always been a New York thing. If you use it now, they'll tell you that it sounds dated, it sounds
Right.
old. The problem is if you try and use something else, they'll tell you that you're biting.
Right.
So as a New York hip hop artist, what do? You're like damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't sound like, if you don't take it all the way southern like ASAP did,
Right.
or take it out west or down south and use words like finna like 50 was doing. What do? Like, how do you? And it's like we can't apologize for being from New York, but at the same time, we catch a lot of backlash. Do you feel that when you go out doing your thing to these other places, or does it not really show up at your shows like that?
I think they appreciate it. I think one thing that I've heard repeatedly is they appreciate a New York person sounding like New York because that's what they want from that music. Like, they don't want somebody from Houston want to hear a New York rapper that sound like Houston. We are Houston. We got that. We know what that pocket is.
Right.
Even me as a fan, I remember growing up and loving, different music from all over. I was big, heavy NWA, Ice Cube, Ren. I was heavy DJ Quick and Too Short, and because they were telling me about places I had never been to. So I would just close my eyes and imagine rolling down, Crenshaw, or being in Compton, or going to the swap meet. So I didn't know that. I knew the projects, I knew the elevators, I knew the train. And when they listened to Illmatic, they got that, and they appreciated that. Now the lines are so blurred, you hear people make records and you can't tell or distinguish where they from, and for as dope as it is to have your music played in other regions and markets, I think it's really important that it feels and sounds authentic to where you're a native of.
Right. And you've never had that issue.
Nah, I listen, when you press play on my joint, I want you to be like, yo, that's Coney Island. But if you don't get that far into it, I want you to say, yo, that's Brooklyn, that's New York. Like, I want it to sound like Brooklyn, New York, because that's what I am. I've been to many places, but I'm Brooklyn's own, to quote the great Jay-Z. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. I think that, yes, we do get flack for it. Yes, I do get flack for it. Even, when I make music that has a more modern feel sonically, it's still pigeonholed into that place of this is boom bap. Like, I'm rapping. It don't matter what beat I'm on. I'm gonna rap on the beat. I think that people already have a preconceived notion of what they want or to expect from it, and so they're not just listening with a blank canvas. They listening to, yo, this is dope. This that New York shit. You know what I mean? It could be the most West Coast. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Not that I would have done it, but I'm just saying, like, I think people automatically want to put you right there because that's where they know you from and that's where they comfortable with you being. And I'm cool with that. I think that the bigger picture is there isn't a lot of balance in the mainstream video or music, and sometimes even the coverage. And that's where people get it confused because it's enough playing field for everybody. I think that the way the business has shifted makes it very, very lopsided. But I feel like if it expanded and opened up, this is why music is down. The sales are down. People don't care because they getting force fed the same shit over and over and over again.
Okay.
And for the casual listener, people got jobs, people got families, careers. They not surveying and purveying the internet to find the newest dopest. Yo, what feel? They just turn on their radio. It's easy. It's the most immediate gratification. You get in your car, you driving to work, you turn on your radio, you listen to your head, or whatever. And this is why a lot of people are just turned off from hip hop because they keep getting the same thing and not a lot of variety. And even my friends and people that I know, like, if they didn't have the one up of having me as a friend that can put them on the stuff or curate a playlist or something like that, they would hate rap too. They're like, yo, what the fuck is this? Where's the shit that we grew up on, the sound that we love? And I'm like, okay, well, you got to listen to this and this and that. But everybody doesn't have a Torae in the crew, to kind of guide them in the right direction. And that's why so many people are turned off from music. That's why they don't want to buy it. So I feel like if the businesses were really smart, and this is when I get into my conspiracy theory that they just pushing a certain agenda for a certain reason, because if they were really, really smart about making money, you would make it as diverse as possible so everybody can be a consumer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In New York, I think one of the misconceptions is being in the media capital, that as an artist, you would have the world at your fingertips here. not realizing how much backlash you catch from New Yorkers. Like that was a big thing a minute ago. Everybody was mad at the DJ and, mad at the radio stations, and Ebro got into that whole back and forth thing as far as like, well, why don't you play?
Right.
When's the last time you broke an act from here who was representing here outside of, I guess Troy Ave may be one who they can take credit for, but other than that, like, there really hasn't been a lot of that action.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think that it does a disservice to the artists out here, because it forces your hand. Like, if you're trying to get out of dire straits, you're going to do whatever you got to do to get out of these situations. And if that means, music is my only way out and I got to get a deal and I got to get on, and they not playing this, they not vibing with this. So what you going to do? You're going to shift to what they vibing with so that you can try to hit a lick, and you can't knock anybody for that. Like, at the end of the day, we all here to try to succeed and get to a better position in our life. And so, I can understand how some artists fall victim to that, because it's a bigger play. It's a bigger picture involved than just, I want to hold it down for New York. It's like, I got to do what I got to do, though. I got to hold it down for me first.
Right. What would you like to see? If you could snap your fingers, rewrite the landscape right now, what would it look like? Besides Torae selling platinum.
Nah, just again, back to the balance, man. Some of my favorite artists, EPMD was a consistently gold group,
Right.
And they made dope music, and it was unapologetic, and it was hip hop, and it was underground, even though it was
in the clubs mainstream. And on the radio.
Right. And it was just dope music. I think that there's more than one J. Cole or Kendrick or, and I'm saying that not so much them as the sound and the feeling and the music and the content that they bring to the table. We got so many Young Thugs, and we got so many Futures, and we got so many of that same rhetoric of partying, and I love the party. You've been in the parties with me. We have good times.
We had a great time.
It's a time and a place for everything. That's what my mother would say, and I think it definitely holds true in music. Like, it's a time when I want to hear Lyrical Miracle. You know what I mean? It's a time I want to hear, that party shit. Shorty got the fatty. She want to back it up. Not me personally, but it's a time and place for all of that. Not right now. And it's a time when you want to hear some deep level conscious, really, like awakening shit. Like, give it all a shot. Give it all a shot. You know what I'm saying? Look at a Def Jam. They had a Public Enemy. They had a Beastie Boys. They had a Third Base. They had a LL. They had a Nicki D. It was so diverse, and that's why they were one of the dopest labels, because they didn't just give you one thing. You know what I'm saying? They gave you the whole spectrum, and they let you pick and choose what you liked. And that's really what's missing from the mainstream culture of hip hop. They just keep trying to push this one sound, this one feel, this one agenda. When you see a guy like Cole put a record out, like, anybody with a good business acumen, you see a guy like Cole, he put a record out, he does really, really well. No features, sells out the garden, sells plat, all of this. Why do you not want to find some other artists in that vein?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And this is why I feel like it's a bigger play. But, to answer your question, balance. Balance is the key to life, as well as money, power, and respect. But balance is the key to life. So, balance in the music business would definitely shift the culture. I think we would see it become a lot more lucrative, a lot more people wanting to get involved and be behind it and be a part of it, even more so than we have now. And it's in a really good space as far as what it's doing for commerce. But I feel like the general feel of people loving it and gravitating towards it and it feeling like it's of them has been lost.